We can hear you.
I'm not sure if it's
Yeah,
this is
Dr.
Mvusi Songelwa here.
Dr. Zongelo, welcome. You are on the platform. We can hear you. Everybody can hear you.
Oh, thank you very much. Good evening, colleagues.
Good evening. Say hi to Mishti in Mumbai. She's hearing you.
Hello, Nishi in Mumbai. How are you?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm good. You are not sleeping. It's still in the evening that side or in midnight?
It is 9:30 p.m.
Oh.
So, yes.
Okay, good.
Just getting into the night. How are you doing?
Good to connect. I'm doing very well. Thank you. Looking forward to connect further with you.
Yes, absolutely.
Wonderful. Colleagues, we did say that this show is a light-hearted moment for coaches and supporters and fans of coaching. So we have started. So, and people can come and go as they wish. So let's feel free to converse. I've given you some guidelines, but I want to emphasize that please don't feel obliged to stay. If you feel like you want to take a break, come back. We just made time available between now up to 20 hours South African Standard Time. We want to know each other, even ourselves in the studio here. We're going to know each other better from a coaching perspective. Mbuzi? Mbuzi?
I was just trying to connect Putsem, so to mute. So I didn't hear the last part, yes.
No, I was just saying that we have started. It's the first time today, and we're just going to get to know each other. We're going to start a conversation.
Yes.
And others will just join us as time goes. And feel free to talk. But what I want us to do is to just let me officially welcome you and also appreciate your time to be part of this platform. We're going to be meeting every Saturday this time over a cup of coffee. You don't have to ask the children to go away or colleagues, friends, families to go away. They can listen in. But let's recognize the beginning of the International Coaching Week. I hope I don't know who was aware of the fact that this is the beginning of the International Coaching Week from this Monday. Any views on that? Mishti?
Hello?
Yes, I was saying that we are heading for the International Coaching Week starting from this coming Monday.
Yes, absolutely. I think that is very exciting.
Yeah.
Yes,
wonderful.
It's just that in India right now, people are still struggling with the pandemic. So
yes,
so right now the need of the hour here is to reduce employee anxiety, manage employee well-being, and that's the focus. So there are a lot of webinars and coaching sessions that are happening around employee wellness and how even individually and collectively one can support each other and build in more resilience.
Wow.
And that is the work of the coaches, yeah?
Absolutely. Indeed.
And how is the weather there at the moment?
It should start raining in another week or two's time. So there is humidity right now, but it's okay.
Yeah. So let's start our conversation and just introduce ourselves. I gave you some guidelines that we can follow, but you don't have to stick to those guidelines. We're not dictating, but I just thought that a little bit about who you are and your organization and a little bit of history about how you came into contact with coaching. anyone who's ready to get started, you're welcome to do so. Maybe I should start.
Sam, with your permission, may I?
Yeah, sure, Mishti.
Okay, thank you so much. So, greetings, everyone. Like I said, it's so wonderful to be here and to interact with you all. My name is Mishti Verma. I am a facilitator, a coach, a Gallup Strengths coach, and also I've done extensive work in gender sensitization. So that has been my field. I had founded an organization called Inner Katha, where we used expressive arts therapy and applied psychodrama
Can you
in
bring my
coaching
charger?
and in facilitation as well.
George, we can hear you if you don't mind muting yourself. Sorry, Mishti.
No problem. And we've done a lot of work in leadership development and behavioral training as well. Right now, I'm a part of the leadership team of an organization that does a lot of work in OD and leadership consulting. The name of the organization is OD Alternatives. And my journey with coaching started 8 years back. And I was previously a counselor and a therapist, and then I moved into coaching with strengths coaching. So I became a Gallup certified strengths coach, and that's how I moved into coaching with a strengths perspective. But I realized that coaching essentially is about really holding space for someone, and through the art of questioning, unraveling the journey of another person and bringing in that clarity and perspective, also tapping the power that's really there within. So it's very much that of a facilitator, but it's a lot about the art of questioning and helping someone navigate through their journey through the power that's already there in their lives. So that's been my experience.
Wow. Interesting. And any views on is there anything that is being done and said about International Coaching Week in India? Of course, people are preoccupied with COVID-19 challenges.
The buzz will be starting very soon.
Do you mind sharing with us a little bit about the landscape of coaching in India? I mean, I know you're working for an organization that was partly responsible for really advancing coaching in India. But for someone who has never been to India and has never worked with Indian clients, I mean, what will you say is the state of coaching in India? Is there a National Coaching Federation or is there ICF? Yes, maybe let's start there.
Yes, ICF is there largely. So, and in fact, when I was talking about the organization that I'm currently associated with, they were the ones who really pioneered coaching in India. So, ICF is there as the main certification body, and a lot of life coaching, executive coaching, then again strengths coaching. Then coaching also goes into areas of midlife transition. So there are also areas of relationship coaching. So coaching has, I think in India, it is becoming a very, very active stream. And there are a lot of coaches in India and attached to organizations and also independent consultants. Yes, so it's definitely an industry that's flourishing, and I think it's going to continue to do so.
Yeah. And the buyers of coaching, is it more HR or is it more line managers? Who are the key players?
So the buyers there are two kinds of buyers. One is the B2C segment, which is business to customer, where you have individual people taking coaching, and which are professionals or individuals. And then there is the organizations. So it's not just line managers, it's also, a lot of CEO coaches are there. So top leadership does also require coaching. So coaching is, I think, at all segments, at all levels, but not too much at a beginner level though. So there, I think, in terms of a beginner level, it is more in like career coaching. I think we spoke about it in one of our podcasts. So there's career coaching for students and for professionals, but mostly it is mid management and also senior leadership. And also life coaches are flourishing in India. So life coaching is also flourishing. And in fact, a lot of Bollywood celebrities also take coaching from life coaches.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's interesting.
We'll come back in terms of what brought you into coaching in a little bit more details. George, are you ready to introduce yourself? Looks like it's mostly us now in the studio, which is fantastic because we're getting to know each other.
Yes, yeah. Well, I got kicked out, and technology has its own way of ensuring that you get a bit unsettled, that you need coaching in the process.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I'm a business executive and a life coach, and my journey really into coaching is perhaps a bit unusual in the sense that I started in a discipline that's quite far from coaching. But when you look at where I started, it's all to do with people, working with people, helping people find themselves, find solutions. And so I kicked off as a lawyer. And as you know, in the legal field, it's helping people solve their problems, but legally, of course. I'm the founder and CEO at Hula Unlock Consulting. We focus a lot on executive business and life coaching. And with life coaching, as I say, the journey from law to coaching has been a bit eventful. I went through commerce in the process, worked as a legal advisor, then went into strategy, then came back into the world of coaching. And coaching is, for me, really, I've found it's something that defines me in the sense that I've always wanted to help people find solutions. But unlike the law, in coaching, you are helping someone find the answers themselves. So you're not coming to the table with a toolbox of answers, but you're coming in with the questions that unlock the answers. And so it requires curiosity on your part in terms of how do you ask. It requires listening on your part. And I think the greatest coaches are very good listeners. They hear what is said and what's not said, but needs to be said. And so from that angle, it's very different from the law. But at the end of the day, what is the objective? The objective is for someone to find answers to those issues that are either worrying them or opportunities that they hitherto didn't see, but now can see via coaching. So I find that quite fascinating, because sometimes when you start on a coaching journey, neither you nor your client can determine where the conversation goes, but ultimately it comes out and, with this beautiful solution that you didn't start off with at the start. So it's amazing.
I always like it when the client says at the end of the session says, listen, I came here not knowing what we were going to talk about. Little did I know that I've got so many issues to put onto the table. Look at me, I'm walking back so fulfilled.
There you go. So it's such a fulfilling profession. What we need to do, though, is I think to get its acceptance to become part of business strategy, business admin, whatever word one wants to use. That every team member should get coaching, because it really unlocks those wonderful ideas inside. And most organizations haven't gotten there because they still see it as an add-on that one may or may not use. But organizations that understand its value know its strategic importance.
Wow, great stuff. We're going to go a little bit deeper there. Dr. Zongelo, I always just call you, I'll call you Mbuzi, but I know your full names. Will you want just to introduce yourself to my to other co-hosts and the listeners out there, obviously? And tell us what brings you to coaching.
Thank you very much, Putsem, and good evening, colleagues. And thank you very much for organizing this platform, but especially for people like us who are really getting into I can say it's the discipline or the field as amateurs. But I just believe that maybe without even recognizing.
Sorry, we miss you there, Lucy.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, just repeat that. We missed you a bit there.
I was saying that thanking you very much for this platform, which I think is going to be beneficial for some of us who are new in this discipline, especially at practicing coaching. My name is Nomvuselelo Songelwa. For those who do not understand isiXhosa, Nomvuselelo is derived from revival. I guess my grandmother thought that I have to revive people's spirits as I interact with them, and I think that's what I'm following. You know what? I don't know about other people, but throughout my life, I have learned to know that I know less about everything as I age. And I think we have been groomed as, academically to specialize or actually really want to be known, to be expertise, to be experts, to offer advice based on the knowledge base that we have acquired. What I really like about coaching is exactly what one of the colleagues has alluded to. I think it's George. As you know, that is really creating a safe space for people, in particular adults and even the young adults, to really just offer that space for them to clarify their thoughts from where they are at a particular stage to where they want to be. Because this is the space that most often that we do not have. Culturally, where I grew up, when you are a woman, you actually don't have that space. Most of the people that get to make decisions and people that offer decisions are probably boys and men as they grow. And I think in this era, as we grow professionally, academically, and also as people towards an equitable society, the space, a safe space, and the unheard voices are actually needed to be heard, not only in institutions, in families, and also as people ourselves. We need to hear ourselves. So I think the field for me, it's really a space for people to be able to empower themselves to to achieve the goals that they would like to do. I am a coachee of Brasem. But before I met Brasem, I actually hired somebody to coach me because I was going through some personal issues. But I wasn't happy with that coach because I think I found out that the person was imposing more of his or her own values. I mean, it was this time her values, and didn't understand where I came from as a Black South African. So when I met Brasem, which was the second person I engaged with as a coach, unfortunately for me, I was introduced by a colleague of mine, a friend of mine, who's a lady, because I was talking to her about the struggle that I'm going through. And then she said, you might not find him maybe you might not experience what I am experiencing, but please do try and talk to Brasem. I think I've known Brasem for I don't know how many years now, but it's more than 5, and he has been stuck with me even beyond that coaching contract. And I think for me, that's another thing that is very exciting about this, is that you might have a client for a particular contracting period, but the value of the relationship that you have is even beyond that. You create, you have, how do I call it, if you want to have an objective voice, if you want somebody that you want to talk to, you can still have that what do you call it, what do you call it when you want to you bounce your ideas. You have someone that that is going to talk to, you are going to be talking to, and as you get out of that conversation, you will
There's a speaking
It's a
partner.
sounding board, yeah.
as a sounding board. You got it, a speaking partner. And as exactly what Brasem was saying, you get out of that conversation, you kind of like, wow, okay, actually, I didn't even think that I know the answer. But you went through those uncomfortable conversation, the silence, you listen to yourself without anybody giving you an advice. So I really want to engage, to network, to have more relationships, in particular at this point in time, not only because it's COVID, but I think we've got a legacy to leave behind for our youth, in not only in this country but globally, because some of us grew up without having a lot of people that we are talking to. But with this multiplying effect that you are doing in that, this is actually creating that safe space for people to engage. So I this is who I am. I'm new in the field. I am looking forward to engage further with all of you.
Wonderful. Wonderful. I'm very interested on behalf of the listeners who might not be coaches, but are very interested in coaching, that you share with them what was your first encounter with coaching and how did you process the subsequent steps that took you to becoming a coach? Mishti?
My first encounter with coaching was with a life coach. And like our coaches just mentioned very beautifully about the concept of a sounding board or the concept of a safe space. So I think that was my experience as well. I really felt a safe space where I could really express myself. And what I said earlier, it's also the art of questioning, the way that coach was able to ask the right questions for me to unravel what was there in my mind and my heart and my entire system. I think that was very powerful because the whole process of just creating the safe space and asking the questions to bring out the clarity that one is searching for at a cognitive level as well as at a deeper level, that becomes very, very enriching. So for me, yeah, my first experience was the safe space, the sounding board, and a lot of clarity of thought because of the questions that the coach asked.
Mm. Mm.
And then you decided that you should also become a coach.
Well, like I said, I've been using a lot of expressive art therapy and psychodrama in the space of counseling. So I was already there in this whole space of, creating sharing circles, safe spaces, and also allowing people to express themselves beyond judgment, stereotype.
Yeah.
And in the area of gender sensitization, because that's my passion area where I've done a lot of work with women and in the gender space. So that, I think that energy was already there in me. Coaching, the difference between coaching and counseling is that coaching is a more structured process that helps the other person navigate and come to a space of clarity. So it works a lot at a cognitive level, whereas counseling works a lot at the inner feeling space level. So there's a slight difference between the two, but I think the common thread is that it is about creating this safe space and helping navigate to bring about that perspective. And at the end of the day, I think the most powerful uh, energy in all the entire space is the self. So all the power lies in the self. One just needs some bit of facilitation to tap into that power, tap into that clarity, tap into that potential, so that the ocean of the whole experience can come out.
Wow. George, I know you did touch a bit on where you were. You were a corporate man all out. And when you tell your story from where you were, you could have proceeded to become a president of a company somewhere, but you decided to just move out of corporate. And share with us your first encounter with coaching and what did you do to become so passionate and not even miss the corporate world?
I tell you, yeah. I don't know. I did 10 years as an attorney, and in that period, it was all about telling, this is what the law says, this is where you should go, or this is how you should do it. Then moved into corporate, and corporate is more proactive. We want to invest in this. What does the law say? And in the process of that, I found I had a lot of people coming to me for advice. But because of my spiritual background, my advice wasn't just always what the law says. I brought in the spirituality. And in that process, somebody says, listen, you would make a good coach. Now, I didn't quite know what that meant. But I thought I would explore that. Then I went into a relationship with the Neuro Leadership Institute, went deep into, and I realized this is where I belong. This is home for me. And so I have been continuously trying to get better and better. And so the very first person who coached me is still my coach today. We had that coaching engagement. It ended, but we still have that relationship. And I think, as the lady said earlier, when a coaching arrangement works well, you create a bond that goes far beyond the confines of a contract. It goes into an understanding between individuals, and you find that person as a platform where you can clear your thoughts. And as Mishti has said clearly, good coaching creates a safe space. It's non-judgmental. It's always future-looking. And that curiosity of someone asking you questions helps you to think, because ultimately, the best result that comes out of a coach is to ignite in you the thoughts that create whatever you want to create. And so I have since that engagement, I've coached many people, and the pure joy for me is when somebody says, "Aha, I found an answer." That is joy to me. You know, it's amazing. That for me is the absolute joy. I've wondered a bit there, Sam, but that's my...
Yeah, great. These are beautiful stories. Mbusi, I know you did share a bit about your encounter with coaching, but I mean, I know initially you weren't really planning to become a coach. You were enjoying the being coached, especially when you were in corporate.
Yeah.
And I know it's not long that you left corporate. It looks like this is like George. This is really an amazing U-turn. And you even went and took coaching courses. I mean, you could have said, look, I'm qualified, man. I can just go and assist people. But you saw a need to go and take a coaching course. Why? What happened?
Yeah, thank you very much. But like George has alluded to, when you work with the teams, sometimes you find yourself engaging with the colleagues, people that don't only report directly to you, but even people that are actually working even at lower levels, where they really approach you and talk to you about issues that are personal. And you kind of create then, as a result, a lot of people in the institutions that have been gladly called mother, because it's like people would come to me and talk to me, even it's work situations, or interestingly, young men who are in abusive relationships, because then they come to me because they know I'm an advocate of women's issues, but they still found the courage to talk to me about their own issues, about what is it that they can do. And I think because there was that kind of relationship, again, even with me, what happened, one of the colleagues that I was working with in the this previous job that I had was actually saying, "Ma, I think, as you are exiting corporate, I think coaching is something that you would love, because there is something that I see, and this person is a coach himself, a qualified coach. I think this is something that you would really enjoy doing. So during the COVID time, I just really decided, okay, whilst everybody else, all of us are still not sure what's going to be happening in the next life, maybe let me do something. Let me take this coaching course. So I took the coaching course, the online coaching course, and I went through it. And I thought, oh, okay, really? I think this is something I'm interested in. So I went through that, and after that, now I've registered for another course. So I think it has refined how I engage with people. As I was saying, that we are groomed to actually be telling people, advising people, but I think this one is actually saying to me, okay, if people are seeing that you have an ear, sharpen your soul around the listening skills. There's a lot of people that are actually looking for this. For that, as sounding board. So I'm very excited about it, and I'm apprehensive as well, because I've just left when I think in February. So this is my third month, colleagues, to start a business. Of
Wow,
course.
congratulations. Welcome to the club of independent coaches.
Yes, so I am very happy to be in the midst of the people that have been in the industry for long, because I really think that it's encouraging to just hear the two colleagues saying, I have never looked back ever since. And I see that this is an opportunity, especially this time, that we are really going to grow as an industry. And I'm happy to have taken this route. Yeah.
Wow, great stuff. I'm trying to redirect Coach Wezi Koza to our studio, because I know she also has a beautiful story to share. Wezi, I've just sent you the redirect. I'm not quite sure whether you will have to click and then feature in our studio, but we should be able to see you as soon as you come to the studio. Wow. Are you here, Wezi? Okay. She will notify us as soon as she's able to get to our studio. And I'm also inviting all other colleagues that are listening online to share with us some reflection as we exchange our experiences. Now, the one question that I always get from people who want to become coaches is, they will say, how do I become a coach? Obviously, meaning that, where do I go to become trained, to become coach and really join? And I always find it very difficult to give an absolute answer. What I always say to them is, just make sure that the institution that you join that is going to train you, they must be registered and be acknowledged by any of the recognized coaching federations. And the reason being that at the point in time where you want accreditation, you don't want you to have spent hours and hours attending a course that doesn't give you recognition, because they first have to recognize that institution where you studied and that course that you did before they can then take you through the process of accreditation. That is the standard answer I give them. The reason being that some people look at the institution that provides training from an academic perspective, that this is a famous university. If I go to them, that qualification is perfect. I don't need any other qualification. Unfortunately, with coaching, you might have a reputable university giving you a course that is not recognized by federations. And it doesn't matter how famous that university is, you are not going to be able to enter the accreditation process. So the starting point is, go into the website of Comenza, website of ICF, European Mentors and Coaches Council, whichever federation is there. They will have a section where they list approved training providers, because you need certain hours of training as the first requirement, and then a certain hours of live coaching for you then to be taken through the assessment to become accredited. Any comments on that, colleagues? I thought we've all experienced this.
Yes.
That's helpful. That's very helpful.
In South Africa, COMENSA is the Coaches and Mentors Association in South Africa. And the ICF, International Coaching Federation, is the international board. That's the biggest body in terms of recognition. And ideally, if you are going to offer services at a higher level, you would need to be accredited through the International Coaches Federation. In fact, I think next week, Monday to Friday, is International Coaching Week, and I know ICF and COMENSA have activities around during that week, so you can check what they are doing. But it's very important to get their accreditation, because then that's being recognized as a driver. It's no good saying I can drive a car and you don't have a driver's license. You need to produce the driver's license, and that's what will help you to then engage clients professionally.
How is it, Mishti, in India? Obviously, ICF is the bigger body as well, but
Yes,
I'm not sure.
ICF it's very important to get your hours and certification through the ICF process. And besides that, I mean, there's another certification called, which you must be aware of, which is the form of strengths coaching. So there is Gallup. Gallup is, again, it's a global body of certification, and they certify in strengths coaching. So that is also, we have a lot of Gallup coaches in India as well. So so it is important to go through a structured process, but there are a lot of in India, there are also a lot of senior business executives or CEOs who mentor and coach, who may not have their certifications. Like, we brought Anjani on the show. So Anjani is a success coach. But and he's pretty good at his process. That's because he's been a very senior HR leader and he has those experiences. But by and large, yes, it's important to get your certifications through a structured process. You get your hours, and all the processes are important. That recognition is important for new coaches to be able to be in the corporate space, in the space of executive coaching, and also life coaching if they individually want to follow. There are a lot of people who do life coaching without the certification process, but they are also into the healing industry. So, but then that's an entire different industry altogether in India. I don't know how it is globally. But globally is also strong. But in terms of life coaching, there are some people who do that in the healing space. But again, I mean, if you want to work as an executive coach or you want to get attached to a corporate, then the process is important.
Yeah, we can touch on that as well. That the fact that belonging to ICF, COMENSA, it is really it's almost like self-regulation. Basically, you want to belong to a community of coaches where we hold each other accountable in terms of best practices and ethical practices, you name it. I see Wezi is now made a speaker. Wezi, can you hear us? Okay. Yes, George, you wanted to comment on that.
Yes, no, I was just confirming what you're saying, that ideally you want to work with someone who's accredited to a professional body purely from the aspect of they will have ethical guidelines that govern them. And in the event of a fallout or some questions, you have an organizing body that's behind that individual. There's a lot of people who walk around who are coaches, who are mentors, and they do a great job. But ideally, if you really want the comfort that you're working with someone who has who abides by certain standards, then someone who is accredited to the ICF or some other organization is your way to go.
Mm. Mm. I also feel that it's very important, especially for us who are coaches who have already gone through this process of accreditation or going through it, that this is not meant to make coaching exclusive. I think it's in our interest to recognize that you have to start somewhere to get through the process. And I think at the moment, my colleagues in South Africa can add to this. I have a view that we are not doing enough to encourage many people to become coaches, and hence there is a gap. And I think we mustn't be using accreditation as a way of putting barriers for people so that they don't enter. In fact, it's in our absolute interest that we encourage people to take their time, get experience at the right time, then they can get accreditation. And of course, there will be companies that will say we only need accredited coaches because they are looking for a particular experience. But there's a whole lot of many other people out there that as long as you have gone through training and you understand the difference between coaching, mentoring, counseling, and you don't confuse the market, that is perfect. We are not in a race of exclusivity here. At the end of the day, the client matters, but the principle of coaching is what is more important. As a Mishti was saying, there will be those who will be in the healing space, and I think the purpose of why we're creating this platform is exactly to create that collectivity and growing each other, because there are just so many problems, so many issues currently. The few of us will not be able to resolve them.
That's right, sir. Very, very true. Yeah, it's not an exclusive club, but it really is a function that helps people to get better, and the more players you can get to help people, obviously a better world is the outcome.
If I can just share something, Smolanyana Prasem, just to allude to what you're talking to. There was someone who said to me they actually deregistered to do a PhD because the people that he saw who had PhDs were the most stupid people.
Wow.
So that's exactly what you're saying. You connect with people as who they are, the values they have, and the safe space that they give you as a coachee, more than the papers that people have acquired.
See, because coaching is what is the ICF says, it's partnering with clients in a thought-provoking and creative process that inspires them to maximize their personal and professional potential. So that really is, you're inspiring people to maximize their personal and professional potential. That is your role. And so if you can do it without accreditation, well, that's great. Accreditation doesn't create that.
Great. Let's talk about I'm very keen for us as coaches to drive this idea of the International Coaching Week. You know, we have a similar thing called International Entrepreneurship Week in November every year. That really just put entrepreneurship on the spotlight. I like the initiative of ICF to have come up with this, and also we have that I've shared with you, that what we call the International Coaching Week Pan-African event, which is happening, and I've booked it because what attracted me was that we have prominent presidents of ICF in Africa. We have for South Africa, we have Dr. Sven van der Woorden, And for Kenya, we have Dr. David Tuku. And for Nigeria, we have Adora Ayoade. And for Uganda, we have John Mugenzi. I've reached out to them to say I've registered for this week's activities, but I would like to engage with them more on this platform. I think it's exciting for me to see ICF helping us connecting coaches from the continent, and I hope they will respond. Already, Joanne from Uganda has responded. She's very enthusiastic. She's looking forward to have a conversation with us because she agrees that this is really something that is going to connect us in Africa. And of course, now, Mishti and I, we have this monthly coaching one-on-one conversations on our radio. And I'm glad that we are building the bridge between Africa and India. And of course, also greetings from Janae Young, who's in New Jersey in the US. She was supposed to join us now, but she has to go. She had to go to another event. She's looking forward to be with us next week, but she said, I must greet you. And she will certainly listen to the podcast. So the whole idea is that it's no use to say we are members of International Coach Federation, but we do nothing together. You understand? And then why do you belong to International Coach Federation? Your views on that? What do you think we need to be doing in this week from the 17th to the 23rd? Just to mark and really put coaching into perspective into the market. Anyone, please jump in.
I know. ICF South Africa have an initiative, and if I'm not wrong, it's on Friday, where they have invited. We have helped to invite organizations, companies that haven't embraced coaching as a culture, and we're inviting them to talk about the benefits of coaching, what is coaching, how can it help your organization, and all that. And so that is happening on Friday. So it's anyone is free to listen in, and I know individuals in their localities engaged in variety of activities around during the week. But I think the thing is, anyone who has something they would like to share in the coaching field, either as questions or contribution, it's free to do it in this week. And you can contact ICF South Africa or Commensa during the week.
I think we should reach out to the two organizations and just find out. There are websites, I think they will have it. If you go into the ICF website and just look for South African chapter, and then you'll pick it up. And then I think the link that I've shared with as well is what they are doing collaboratively. They call it the Pan-African Event Council of those presidents. And then maybe it will be good next week when we meet to just update each other as to what we have come across. I've registered for the Pan-Africa event. And Mishti, it will be very nice to hear what,
Yes, I'm sorry I'm interrupting. I'm getting an important call from one of my clients. I'll just have to take it up. Actually, there's a session tomorrow. So I just need to streamline something for that. Is it okay if I can leave right now?
Yes, Mishti, thank you very much for taking time.
Thank you so much, Sam, and thank you all the wonderful coaches and the speakers here for tuning in. It's so great to hear your experiences, and there's a lot of sharing and learning, and like we've been talking about, this is indeed a safe space. So that feels very nice.
Okay, so what time is it? 10:30 there?
Sorry?
It's 10:30 at night there, is it?
Yeah, it's 10:30 right now. I actually have a session tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. So there is something I need to streamline for that. So
perfect.
So I need to make that call.
Yes.
Bye, Mish. We'll connect again.
Yes, we'll connect again. It's so wonderful to hear your experiences. They're truly inspiring. Thank you for sharing.
Cheers.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you, everyone, for your time and
Bye
for
bye.
the platform. Thank you. Stay
Great.
safe. Thank
Yeah. And I keep on checking and see if there is anyone from the listeners who want to chat with us. But yeah. Are there any other issues? I have points here that I listed that was beyond the entrepreneurship, it's beyond the International Coaching Week. What do you think we need to do to continue in this way as national, continental, and international coaches? I know belonging to ICF gives you the opportunity they will direct you to a lot of initiatives that they offer, but on our own basis, especially talking to us here in South Africa. There's a lot of events that Commenza organize, which are great. You meet other coaches, but I think we can brainstorm a little bit, take it to a next level, because just meeting and networking and listening to speakers and ending up there might not be enough in terms of helping the market.
Yeah. I think the one thing, Sam, is the level of awareness of really what coaching is all about. And this, obviously, this program is one way of raising awareness, because the need is there for the service. But if people are not aware of it and haven't built the confidence to use the service, then it won't grow. And so I think raising the awareness, what is coaching? How can it help you? And really having programs that talk to that subject. So this program that is an excellent start. But I think more players need to get involved, just to raise the level of awareness.
Do you think we should choose some themes for every Saturday and put them out there to mobilize people to listen? Obviously, the podcast will be available after this. We will publish it. I'm just thinking, because I don't want us to make it too structured, but I'm welcoming any ideas. If you say, okay, George, this week you are going to be putting something around awareness creation, and then we just say we're going to talk about everything else, but one key theme we want to bring across for the next Saturday is going to be how do we create awareness among clients, among the people in the country at large. We have to get guest speakers. We have to,
I think broadening it to include ideally people who have had an encounter with coaching and have found value, and then those who are free to share what benefit they got from it, and that, because people will come on board if there's a testimony, if there's somebody there who says, I went through this and this is what happened to me. And I think more of those stories would be useful. How we get people, we would obviously need to think it through, but I think just testimonies, for want of a better word, really will grow the profession.
From my side, but Sam, I always really dream that the coaching should not only be introduced within professional institutions. It should go beyond that. If you're looking even with decision makers, even our politicians, you're talking about even your priests. There's always this assumption that people at the higher echelons of the society are probably they really do not need any coaching. Our youth, why coaching? Maybe it's part of the what do you call it, awareness creation. And you have started to actually use the digital platform, but I think other than the podcast, your radio, your tweeting, why do you really have, as an individual, what why do you why what is the benefit of coaching? Because sometimes it's not necessarily when you are directed to by a program within an institution. I just really need to know that, you know what, I think I need somebody to talk to. Unfortunately, some other fields like counseling and whatever have got this negative connotation. People think that you are mad if you go there, which is a field that is also has its own benefits. But then I think that is what we want to be, to actually do, because everybody else can benefit, and the coaches obviously have got different target groups. Even our youth, as we speak, people are going through, there's so much unemployment that has been created by COVID. What is happening in our societies? Why is it that government cannot invest in, in coaching? Wellness these days can't just be wellness of people calling other people, but the coaching is really, for me, the way that I look at it, it should be everybody else's, what do you call it, vitamin C. You just know everybody else knows vitamin C. Hey, I know what the menthol does. Why coaching? What is it?
I think one of the things we need to address perhaps is that the coaches are viewed as people who are looking to be paid all the time.
Yes.
I mean, that we need to, because we have the responsibility to grow the market. Yeah. And we need to be concerned with the impressions we leave out there to people. And that brings me to even the title of this show. Perhaps we need to look at, should we be calling it Executive Coaches Network? Isn't that putting people off?
Yeah.
Because we give ourselves titles, I'm this and this coaches. Now the clients, they're saying, okay, now that doesn't speak to me, so
I'm not
I can't talk to this person.
Yeah. Yeah.
George?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the starting point is to say, who do we serve as coaches? And that's the starting point. And we serve everyone. And but the coaches will differ. Some will specialize in dealing with executives. Some will specialize in just life coaching. Some will specialize in other fields of coaching. But the key is that all of them are geared to help clarify the thinking process. I did an article, if you wants to look, it's in Elevation Business Magazine. It's just come out, the May issue. And I talk about the importance of coaching in there. But it's in that article, I'm talking about the importance in relation to business. But it's the same thinking. You are in a dilemma, you are in a situation where you don't see your way forward. What does the coach do? The coach comes in to get you to see your situation from a 360-degree point of view. They get you to look at all perspectives. And from there, you can then decide which way to go. It might be in your marriage. I did, as I said to you, Sam, I've done counseling for with my wife. We counsel couples. And our role is not to tell people how to live their lives, but it's to say to you, here is another perspective. Ask you questions. What have you looked at? Have you looked at? So by the time you have seen 6, 7 viewpoints, you're able to say, this is the one I want to run with. And that is coaching. That's the role of coaching. And so our role as coaches is to try and tell everybody and demystify this thing that it is only for Steve Jobs and Bill Gates. No, it isn't. It is for everybody. But Bill Gates will access the coach who coaches executives. And the next guy will access the guy who will help him with his divorce. But that the essence is to say, help me think through this. And that's what we provide.
Well said. So it is in our interest to promote coaching and make it accessible to everybody. I wonder if Katu is able to join, because she specializes in coaching girls. I've just invited her to join, and I'm sure she's focusing on young girls. Katu, I've invited you, if you can join into the studio, and maybe while we are still at this point, why did you decide to focus on coaching young girls?
That's nice.
Which is excellent work you are doing, obviously, and we want to. That's part of a specialization that George is talking about. Yeah. Okay. We seem not to be getting it through, but yeah, very good point. So I think it's so interesting. I said we are just coming to know each other. It is not going to be a hard talk, but it shows that there is a real need there, and we will be flexible about it. But I would like you, if you think of anything to bring to this Saturday sessions, just bring it. You don't even have to write to us to say, I want to bring this point. No, there's no agenda. We start 30 minutes before, and we have a cup of coffee. You can drop things in the chat box, and on the basis of that, we have a conversation. And I think my belief is that, and I think it's the belief of many people, coaching is an applied profession. It's not a theoretical. Yes, you need theory, but you will only experience the magic of coaching if you do coaching. And they used to say to us that after lecture one, they said, now you are ready, you are going to coach. You said, no, I'm not ready. They said, You have attended the first lecture. We have explained to you what coaching is. Go and do it. That's the only way you learn.
Yeah. And Sam, if I could just say, and this is one of the biggest, for want of a better, drawbacks, is that for most people, their affairs, whether they are business, personal, they want to keep them confidential. And therefore, the fear of going to talk to someone else about your issues says, what if they open up and tell other people? Now, this brings us back to that credentialing with the International Coaching Federation, etc. Because one of the cornerstones of coaching is confidentiality.
Yes.
It is an absolute cornerstone. Anyone who doesn't follow that confidentiality has contributes to giving coaching a bad name. But if a person is accredited, there is an added benefit for me as the client. I know now that this person is serious and is bound by those ethical practices. And so I find a lot of people, when we say coaching, because they don't feel safe, they kind of give you 70% of the story. But for you to get a real value from coaching, you want to be in an absolute safe space where you open up and you help yourself think through those issues. But I understand why people hold back, because there's that issue around confidentiality. And so trust is a big factor in coaching.
You know, George, I have found that even the people who come into coaching, knowing very well that you are accredited and you are professional and you're experienced, and you should know very well about confidential, that even though they will still test you. So that's why the first sessions is you have to win the trust of the client.
Absolutely. It's about trust.
Yeah. So, and I think that is where now we talk about there's a qualification that you obtain as a result of your studies and experience. But there is something called the coaching way of being, where they are saying that you have to pass this test before even you go and take coaching as a course and a profession. You have to have a coaching way of being, meaning that your kind of personality must be such that you are interested in people. That you will not enjoy destroying people. You will not enjoy making money out of coaching people at the expense of the people. So this is something that any coaching course will not give you.
Yeah.
So it's also very important for people to understand that this is a demanding role. And if you are struggling with people issues, you are not excited when the next person does very well because of your health. You might just find it very difficult to make people gel or to be people inspired. And I wish Waze was in the studio, because I never told her this, but I know she comes from one of the related helping profession, which is a nursing and nursing, teaching, and all those. I see them as helping professions that you already have those qualities before even you become a coach.
Yeah.
But having said that, George and Dr. Songe, perhaps we must just share with people what is the difference between coaching, mentoring, counseling, because especially coaching and mentoring is used very interchangeably, and sometimes clients don't understand what it is that they are buying.
Maybe I could have a go. With mentoring, it's direct guidance. It is George saying, I've had 30-something years of experience in commerce and wherever. And from my experience, I will help guide you towards your goals. So it's direct. I am sharing my experiences with you. I am giving you my thoughts in relation to how we did X, Y, Z, and helping you move forward. Whereas with coaching, I provide a platform for you to find the answers. So I don't say, because I was in commerce for 25 years and this is what we did, you may want to try it out. That's not my role as a coach. My role as a coach is to find out where you're at. Where do you want to go? What are the options that we are seeing? And then you will say, I will pick this option. But I create an environment for you to be able to think it through, to be able to see the alternatives, to be able to be inspired. Because the role of a coach is to inspire. And so when I get you there, I get you to look into the future looking. I open possibilities for you, but I also believe in your potential. And so at all times, I'm respectful of what you are doing, but I give you, you have the decision. You have to make a decision. With mentoring, I'm much more holding your hand and say, this is how we walk this road, my friend, and I can help you. I don't know whether that makes sense.
Yeah. And absolutely. And I think Mishti did explain the difference between coaching and counseling. And I like what she said, that with coaching is more cognitive, while counseling is more emotional, or I can't remember what she said.
About feeling.
Yes. But it's also very important for people to understand that it can happen that you're coaching somebody and you find that they are having issues that requires psychotherapy. And one of the requirements as a coach is to identify when people are not ready for coaching. If they need counseling, you need to refer them to somebody who's specialized. Yeah, doctor?
Yeah. No, I'm agreeing with you, Buddy. And I think for me, what also is exciting about coaching is that, and I think George was talking to, I don't know whether it was you or George was talking about, it's a partnership between the coach and the coachee. And if you are a people's person, so both people are going through a learning process, so you learn from each other. You are going as even a coach going to learn from that process, because you are curious, asking questions as they are navigating through the solutions of their current, I don't want to say challenges, or their current situation they are in. So it's more future looking, the same way with I think with mentoring. But I think in mentoring you give advice, you tell people, you always tell, how do I do this thing? You do it this way. So you are seen as an expert in a particular field, and people who come to you are those who want to learn from you, because they know less than you do. But in coaching, it's like you are there to really provide the space, and in the process you are learning as a person. So at the end of the process, I think you get out both empowered, because you are treating that person as a human being who's learning from his experiences or her experiences, and has the knowledge base actually of what he's looking for. Yeah.
Katu was struggling to, she is welcome into the speakers section, but maybe she's having a problem with the microphone. So I hope she can fix that. And then we have been trying to bring Wazy on board. But it's good to know that we have such great coaches among ourselves that have some interesting perspective and insights. And hopefully next time we'll be able to bring them into the speaker's side. Anyone who's listening, who's wanting to be part of this, drop us a note. This is our platform, and let's really grow each other. I like the perspectives that are being shared here. For those who have joined late, I'm in the studio with Dr. Nombuzelelo Zongelwa and Brother George Mutenda Tamera. We are all coaches, and then I know most of you also there. You are all coaches, so we will. It is not an exclusive co-host speakers corner. It's each one of you are going to be given opportunity next time, and I can actually pull any one of you here right now into studio, but you seem to be having challenges. So if you can check your app, you either use the app if you are dialing in using your mobile, that is Podbean app. Otherwise, you use the website podbean.com. And then to locate us, just go to Commercial Coaching Podcast. We want each one of you to be heard. And by the way, this conversation is being recorded automatically. Immediately after this, we'll publish it as a podcast. So, George, we are building a content here. So I really believe we are building a community now. You know?
Indeed.
Yeah. And I'm dying to hear from other colleagues, but we'll have another chance next time. Because as I was saying that, I've realized that you can study as many coaching books as possible. You actually learn very well when you are on a platform like this and you are trying to explain, and you get to surprise yourself that, wow. I mean, like, George, if I take your explanation of coaching and mentoring, I don't know whether did you have to think hard about it, or is because you have talked about this thing for so many years times that is natural to you?
Well, I think it was it about a month or two ago when somebody wanted me to mentor them, and we had an extensive discussion around it. Because you learn better as you discuss those things. But I wanted also to say, Sam, that the one thing that every coach must know whenever they are dealing with a client is that human beings can be more than they think they are. And what I mean by that is whenever you are working with a client, they have limitations within themselves, what we call belief system. They have beliefs that I can't get there, I can't do this, I can't. Those beliefs have been put into them as they grew up, and those are self-imposed, self-limiting beliefs. Now, your role as the coach is one, to understand that everybody can be much, much, much better than they are. But secondly, how do you help this individual sitting in front of you to do just that? Now, you don't have a toolbox to open up their mind and say this and that. But if you keep asking the questions and give them the space to think, asking the questions, give them the space to think, they will surprise themselves. Never mind surprising you, they will surprise themselves as to where they can get. And so for them to get to that space where they will surprise themselves, they must have that safe space. So I always walk in saying, I know you can be much better than you are. I don't know how far you can go, but I know you can be much better. And so anyone who's listening, and if you're not a coach, you're a coach, know that where you are today, you can 10x that or 100x that, depending on what hunger, what desire is inside of you. And as a coach, I want you to get the desire. I want you to believe you can go. And if you do that, you fly.
Beautiful. We are a community of coaches, and basically we are all business people, and we are all looking for clients, and we are competing out there. But something that I found out, when I ultimately introduced the concept of associate coaches, it was after one of my best clients said to me, Sam, I'm really enjoying your coaching that you are giving me and my colleagues. But I'm worried about one thing. Everybody wants Sam to coach them here in this organization. So how are you going to clone yourself to be able to be everywhere? Now, the business of coaching has taught me one thing, that there is no best coach. We are all coaches. There is alignment between you and your client has the opportunity to meet with you in a chemistry session and say, I think you can coach me, or say, no, you can't coach me. That is one point I want us to address. And secondly, where I'm leading to with this is that coaches need to understand one thing. The only way for you to grow your coaching business is if you collaborate with other coaches. Otherwise, you're going to burn out and you are not going to be able to sustain business. You think by getting too many assignments, you are going to grow. You are not. So I would like us as coaches to also think very seriously about sharing assignments, collaborating, becoming associates, because I have been in this business for a very long time, and I can tell you, I enjoy supporting my fellow coaches working with me on an assignment that perhaps was won by a Cometa or by another associate coach. This is, for me, a topic on its own, George. I would like to just to maybe talk a little bit about it, but park it, because we are in a healthy, we can't afford to compete against ourselves. We will not be able to grow the market and help the country. Any comments
there? Well, as I said earlier, that coaches will have areas of specialty, of specialization, areas where they're naturally good. Some people are very good with business people. Some people are very, very good with helping the housewife to be the best she can be. And understanding your area of strength will help you then determine where you focus. But what it means in the process is that you are going to get people who don't quite fall into your area of specialty, and therefore you need to work with teams. So if I go back to my law days, as a lawyer, there were areas that I knew this is me. If someone came into my into the law firm with a problem that's outside that, I'll talk to them. But I would know definitely, I would say to them, I'm going to ask them to look after you in this, because that's his area of specialty. So collaboration is absolutely key in any profession, if you ask me, because the way to grow for all of us is to be able to share and learn from each other's experiences. And so I find it very easy to say, oh, I know this is not my area of specialty, and I'll call upon somebody else. And similarly, because why are we doing that? Because we want to give the best to our clients. We want to give the best to the persons who come forward. And yeah, so purely from that angle, of course, from growing the coaching profession, it's also an absolute must to do as much as we can to broaden the number of players in the field.
Yeah. You know what I am hearing, but Sam, you are advocating is even reaching far by not only collaborating with people who are working with different, I'll say, with different target groups as clients. But
just before you just hold it there, Nombuza, I don't want you to be cut. I get a notification that the live streaming is limited to 120 minutes, meaning that we are going to be cut, and we need to exit the live mode. So that means we are going to lose our listeners, but us in the studio, we can remain. Sorry to you, colleagues, I overlooked this fact. Just to wrap up, we have 1 minute, Nombuzi, and I didn't expect this to happen. Sorry about that.
No, that's fine. I think what I was just saying is that what I'm hearing you saying is that we have as a responsibility as coaches to even empower each other. And you growing the business in that way. Let me make an example. Those who are new in coaching can actually share and work with people, not necessarily for financial gain, but working together, empowering each other through these platforms as we are currently doing. And I think it's something that competition takes out competition in that way. We are all learning as a community.
Absolutely. Great stuff. Thank you. Let you stay in the studio, colleagues George and Dr. Songelo. To those who are tuning in, thank you so much for joining. We had up to